Welcome to the Pattern People, where we decode the subconscious patterns in everyday events so that you can transform your life from the inside out. I'm Arania Susan from Being Human and Sacred Relationships. My key areas of interest are past lives, body decoding, and relationship dynamics. I've been helping people to transform their lives by understanding what's going on behind the scenes for over 40 years.
Greetings, trendsetters. Yasameka here. I found that I had subconscious mind programs 30 years ago, and they were really upsetting my life, and I had to find out and track the subconscious patterns. So I've been doing that for about 30 years and helping people clear their own patterning. I'm also what I know as a world bridger. I clear ghosts. I do it internationally. I was born subconsciously red-based. I'm planetary, so that means I'm a bit rough around the edges at times. And I'm basically known as the Pattern Man.
Recently, we heard from Lynn in Rotorua, New Zealand, and this is what she had to say. My problem is that I am great when it comes to starting something new. But after a while, I get bored with it and it gets stuffed back on the shelf. My closet is full of unfinished projects that I just can't be bothered to do anything with. They feel like a millstone around my neck, dragging me down every time I see them. It's the same at work. My desk is always cluttered with reports that have to be wrapped up. I start off great, but then lose interest. Then it's a mad dash at the last moment to get them done before the deadline. I usually only get them done just before they are due. I'm sick of this crazy roller coaster cycle. Thanks, Lynn. So let's just see what's going on behind the scenes with Lynn's subconscious pattern.
Righto, she said she was good at starting, right?
Yep, she said she was good at starting.
Okay, so that means she's a generator.
Mm-hmm.
And generators mean that they can start subconsciously programmed to start well. They can initiate things, spark things off, get things off the ground. But by the sounds of it, halfway through, maybe halfway through.
Yeah, maybe not even that far. She gets bored.
Something puts on the handbrake or gets bored. Okay, so that means if you take that pattern back to gestation, her first trimester would have been positive. She would have started out well, so she's probably wanted or maybe planned as a child. And so she starts out well, but something has happened halfway through the gestation she said she was bored. And an interesting thing in there, she brought up the word millstone.
Yep.
Now, millstone
feels like a millstone around her neck.
Yeah, well, that's the karmic element, earth. Somewhere along the line, someone, something, or some being of an earth element, karmic earth element, which is different than the astrology thing, has come along and probably changed her direction because she gets bored with it. What do you got?
Well, I can identify with that one because I have similar, and I've had to do clearings around this. I have similar that something interests me to start with. It's something new. It's something fresh. I'm interested to see what it is, to get to the nuts and bolts of it. And when I feel like I've actually got to the point of understanding it or knowing what it's about, then the mechanical, physical, just completion of it, I find that really uninteresting. I'd rather think conceptually about it and get it going, get it generated, get it started. And then once that initial excitement has worn off, I've also been known to put things to the side and think, well, actually, I think I'd like a challenge today, and I'll start something new, and that other thing's still sitting there.
Interesting. She said that there's a lot of things left unfinished.
Stuck away in her cupboard.
Well, that means See, 9 o'clock on the Ouroboros is completion.
Yep.
So therefore she's unable to get to 9 o'clock and complete. She might, and that sounds for herself. She may be able to complete and finish for someone else, maybe for the family.
She did mention work, but she's talking about the reports that she's responsible for. So even though it's in the workplace, it's probably comes down to her responsibility again. So it's something for herself. It's not like it's something for the team, so she's able with the group.
So she's able to complete for someone else.
It's an individual activity, I think we're looking at here.
Which includes she can complete for, say, the family, complete for the school, for work, for someone else who's the boss. But when it comes around to her, she's unable to complete for herself. And again, that goes back to gestation, because when you're in gestation, you're there by yourself. You are inside your mum, but you are integrating your spirit and all that and growing. So, yeah, I'd say there's someone or something in her reality who's very earthy, that, according to her, blocks her way.
You know, I get the thought of that millstone being like a lump of concrete that you've kind of got over your shoulder, dragging it behind you. You know, we all talk about having all this baggage from what's gone on before. When we fail to wrap up, complete, and finalize something, it's always sitting there because we have that kind of guilt. She didn't say anything about guilt, but that is another thing that can come up with this kind of scenario, is that guilt or that burden, responsibility, which can weigh down on your shoulders, can weigh down on your lower back, of dragging all this stuff around because we're never actually cutting the ties to wrap them up, finish them off, finalize them. And that sense of relief when we actually can bring something to completion is immense. And it just feels like the whole load has been lightened. But if you're one of these people who starts something and just lets it sit, just think of every one of those projects as being a kilogram block of concrete or something, and you're putting that in your backpack and you're trying to go through life with all of this behind you until you get to the point where you either cut them off, jettison, throw them away, give up, whatever. But yeah, and it's interesting. I've just had another thought coming in that it then goes into, well, I can't be bothered to do any of that, cannot be bothered. So I'll just do something different. I'll do something new. And it's always looking for something exciting, something refreshing, something mentally challenging, physically challenging, however that plays out.
Yeah, well, I'm ticking on that blinking karmic element.
You're in the elements.
Because we all have these karmic elements and they motivate us, and it's part of our operating system. An air person travels in all directions, and they're quite quick and flitty. A fire person, well, they're straight up and down and they're quick as well. And a water person, like path of least resistance, but they're all moving. Now, if you get pole of earth, it does not move. So I think she is one of the other elements where she might be a smaller lady or something that flits around, or a straight up and down fire person that's got good focus and things, or a water person that travels the path of less resistance, always moves in one direction. They're all moving. She's got someone in her reality who's earth, and you put earth onto air, you put earth into fire,
stifles them.
You put earth into water. See, you put an earth into water, the water will travel and will go somewhere else. So this lady isn't a water element.
No, she's not going somewhere else. It sounds like she comes to a stop, shelves it, starts something new.
And she'll be programmed when she's going to get going, and her patterning as she gets going generates everything's going la-di-da, fantastic, and she's programmed for some being, could be an animal, a big animal which is earthy, or gosh, it could be a landslide or anything, come along, stop her in her tracks. And what happens? Seeing it's a millstone round her neck, she has to carry this. So
and process it.
If she's got a husband who's an earth element, she's going to have to carry him. And that slows her down.
Because another angle I've got on that is not so much that it's an earth person, but Lynn could be creating an earth situation within herself because she's subconsciously programmed to barrier or block her own progress. Now that happens as well. She's Lynn, yeah.
She's going along nicely. Seeing she says it's a millstone round her neck, she takes on this earth for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it wouldn't.
She's got it round.
Otherwise, she wouldn't be carrying it round the neck. Now, the fact it's round the neck.
That could be the guilt. That could connect back to the guilt, because guilt and
here's Frank.
Millstones round the neck.
Here's the throat chakra, right? Throat chakra's got the sense of righteousness, right, wrong, judgment, all that kind of stuff, and guilt.
Guilt, blame,
if you
and
think
shame.
You're wrong in some way, it's going to go to the throat. So if she's carrying that round her neck, this person who's earthy, whoever that is,
even herself,
has told her that she's doing something wrong. You should do it this way, which is more of an earthy way. And she wraps it round her neck.
The other thing she could be doing.
What she's doing is wrong.
Yeah, she could be judging herself and feeling excited about this project or whatever it is that she's working on to a certain point, and then she's second guessing maybe. She could be layering that on herself and creating the judgment and thinking, oh, I do not think it's good enough. Maybe I could do it better. And then I'm not sure if I should do it this way, that way. And she gets to a block that she feels the earth block here ends up so high that she feels that it's insurmountable. Well, that's a possibility as well.
If that's the case, she's got a mum and dad, right? It might be mum, it might be dad. She starts on her way. She generates herself inside gestation. It's either because of mum's perception or dad's perception that she has to take on.
And she makes the judgment about what she's doing.
The earth stuff. So that means she starts something. Her subconscious mind, which is suburb, her subconscious mind goes, oi, you better take on mum's earth perception or earth way of life, or dad's earth way of life. And she goes, oh, God, I just got myself up and going. Damn it.
Right, yeah.
That'll be in
something else crossing her path. The other interesting thing is because she's got this in the home reality. And I think when she's talking home reality, she's talking about projects, crafts, hobbies. I do not think it's the domestics, just from the way she's writing. Possibly. Maybe it's the vacuuming. I do not know. But certainly things that she's doing at home for herself. Maybe it's a piece of art, some sewing, I don't know, writing something, whatever it is. And she gets to a point where she sort of pulls the plug on that because she's lost interest and it's become too hard. She does not want to proceed. But she also talks about doing this in the workplace with the reports. She must have some kind of administrative aspect to her job where she's got reports or something that she has to explain. Maybe the doing was more interesting to her, and then having to tell about it is boring to start with.
Is she doing the stuff at work?
She's doing this at work as well.
Yeah, you mean has she got millstone hanging around her neck at work too?
She talked about the millstone. Hang on,
because quite often
these
patterns can change depending on what reality.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I'm going with this, because she's talking about, first of all, her closet being full of unfinished projects. And they feel like a millstone around her neck every time she sees them. So
her closet's personal. So that's that's her, and that's her earth suit. That's her.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Now the other thing she says, it's the same at work.
Oh, right.
My desk is always cluttered with reports that need to be wrapped up. I start off okay, well, great, she says. Then she loses interest and she's got a rush to finish at the end. Now, where I was going to take that is that, yes, we have the home reality. Work is in a reality away from home. So it's inside because she's doing reports. I doubt that she's got an outside job. But the inside
She's a
part of
school
it,
teacher or something, or just a...
she didn't say.
Oh, okay.
She just reports
Okay.
as an accounting for things that she has to do. So I don't think it was necessarily student reports. So she's inside doing this part of her job anyway. So that's inside. The reality is inside, away from home. Now, the other reality that is really close to that, the environmental reality that fits with it, is school. So the first inside, away from home, learning, working reality is when we go to preschool or to school. So with this in mind, Lynn, you probably were excited about the new project or the new report or assignment or homework or whatever, the concept of it. You thought that that was pretty interesting. But then when it came down maybe to writing this essay, once you'd got the idea in your head, you couldn't be bothered to finish it. And then because it had to be in by 9 o'clock Monday, you'd be doing a late night on Sunday, trying to get it finished, to get it in and submitted when it was due. Because you're doing this at work. So that would mean that it's come from school as well.
Well, it's just blinking interesting because she mentioned closet, which is inside.
True. Right? Inside.
So, and she has this at home and she also has this inside. So this pattern may kick off when she's inside.
Yep.
I'd be interested to know if she actually, what happens when she goes outside.
Like is it the same?
If she goes outside, which changes the whole mind programming thing, she may be a finisher on the outside. So she might finish her gardens. She might be sporty minded and be the one that gets the goals or does the scoring, because she can finish on the outside, but as soon as she walks through that threshold of a door to enter inside, the subconscious will blink and change and go, okay, no more finishing in here. You've got this pattern kicking in. That'd be good to know that.
Wow. There you go, Lynn. There's a bit of insight into what's going on behind your ability to get started with things inside, but finding it difficult to get them wrapped up and finished off.
Yeah, that's about it. There's nothing else in there, right?
If this resonates with you and you want to do something about it, check out our completion video in the Clearing Library, or contact us for a one-to-one clearing session where we can go through in detail your specific situation and help you to clear that subconscious program out of your life. I'll pop the links for that below. Also, if you're interested in finding out more about how your mind works and what subconscious programs and patterns are, then check out our Welcome to Yourself series, available online. I'll pop the link for that in the comments below as well. And we'll see you next time in The Pattern People. Bye for now.
Cheers, everyone.